All of my content is also posted on 5colorcombo.com, a great website for all of your Magic the Gathering needs, including articles, podcasts, and custom Magic the Gathering tokens and playmats. As a subscriber to my channel, you can use the discount code NEEDSAHONE5 for a 5% discount in their store. You can find the link in the description below. Hello everyone and happy Monday. I'm Needsahone and I post a new draft video each and every Monday. We're doing some more Kaladesh, of course, so I'll be back with you when the draft fires. Alright, well, we have an interesting pack. Panharmonicon and Fabrication Module are both pretty powerful build-arounds. I think Fabrication Module is a little better to make work. Both of them work really well together in general. So they're both worth looking at because they're such strong build-arounds like Fabrication Module, just the fact that it can, on its own, just make your creatures huge. And Panharmonicon, again, which works with this, actually it doesn't, so scratch that. But... It obviously works with energy and things like that. You can do a lot of things, works with Fabricate. But, man, this is a confusing pack. Because we also have Renegade Freighter, which is just a great first pick in general. It's just a really strong common. And there's also Unlicensed Disintegration, which is a reasonable first pick, even though it's gold. But because there's also a Renegade Freighter, I think I'd probably just take the card that's just good on its own, more or less, instead of taking Panharmonicon or Fabrication Module, which do need some work to really get there. Or Unlicensed Disintegration, which requires 2 colors. So we're just going to take the Renegade Freighter. Propeller Pioneer is a solid card too, but not nearly as good as the other options we had there. Okay, well, Oval Chase Daredevil works pretty well with Renegade Freighter. It works. It's just a strong card in general. You can just attack with it and, not be afraid of trading with it because you can get it back in most decks that have a decent number of artifacts. Glint Sleeve Artisan and Propeller Pioneer are both good as well. And so is Gear Seeker Serpent. I think I'm going for the Oval Chase Daredevil, though, here. Like, it's just the fact that it just keeps coming back is super relevant in this format. We do need to pick up artifacts to make it work, but we've already got one of those. And, Propeller Pioneer and Glint Sleeve Artisan are really good, too. But let's take the Daredevil and see if that's open for us. Okay, well, Chandra's Pyrohelix is solid. But so are High Spire Artisan and Ambitious Aetherborn and Sky Swirl Harrier. It might just be better to stay black and take the Aetherborn and just see what else ends up being open. The Aetherborn works well with the Daredevil too because it gives me a Fabricate token. But that's a Servo token, but that's a pretty bad third pick. Like, I don't like the feeling of that very much. I might just take the removal here. I think I do. Even though it's not a removal spell I love in this format, I think we take it. There are some artifact synergies in black-red, so we could still end up in an artifact-centric deck with these cards. Well, this is a fairly late Revoke Privileges. It kind of sucks that we've passed a bunch of other reasonable white cards because it's such a good white card. I would take Doomed Operative here probably and just be happy with it if it weren't for this card, but I think we got to take the Revoke. It does have its downsides in this format, but it's still a really good removal spell. All right. Well, blue looking pretty open. Era of Innovation can do some silly things, and the rest of the cards in this pack are super underwhelming. I guess Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot works well with our Daredevil. But these blue cards, like these two especially, are very good blue cards. The Peafowl and Era of Innovation. So we could think about taking the Peafowl. Blue-black also cares about artifacts. Era of Innovation does require you generally to have something else to use energy on, though using energy on it is pretty reasonable, but not very exciting. I think I'm going to take the Peafowl just because it's a better card than most of the other things we had there. Okay, well now there's a Die Young. We also have Thriving Grubs and Thriving Turtle, which are both pretty good, but I think I'm just going to take the removal here. Okay, I don't mind Harsh Scrutiny, honestly. It's a pretty solid little card. It usually does, adding Scry to an effect like this makes it so much better than when it doesn't have it, obviously enough, I guess. Okay, well, Sky Swirl Harrier is solid, so is Wayward Giant, and Revoke Privileges is just better than Chandra's Pyrohelix, so I think I'm leaning towards the Harrier because that's what comes with the white. I don't like Wingsmith a whole lot. We could take the Puzzle Knot and just sort of take a reasonable white card that goes with our burgeoning artifact theme, but I don't know if we have enough to do that. I think at this point I'm just going to take the flyer. Okay, well, the Etherborn coming back, I mean, it's a solid card. This is also a solid red card, but I like it more than Thriving Ibex. Okay, another Etherborn, but also Salivating Gremlins, huh? I should probably stick black here, because these are both reasonable black cards, even though neither of them are super exciting. As good as, although the Gremlins being here late is a decent sign. Red's sort of open. And red can do some fun things with Fabricate, but we do lose Revoke Privileges. But we gain Chandra's Pyrohelix. I think I'm going to take this and take it as a sign that red's open and we could do some silly things with Fabricate. We could take Live Fast or an Eager Construct. We have a couple cards that care about artifacts already, so I think I'm going to take the artifact, even though I don't love it. I don't love Live Fast either, though, so I'm not really giving up much. Man, High Spire Artisan's pretty good, but if we really end up in a deck with a decent number of artifacts and creatures, Fortuitous Find can be really good. I guess we'll take a Morbid Curiosity, and I guess this comes back, and maybe we try to splash Revoke Privileges off of a couple of prisms or something. It is possible. Probably don't splash the Harrier. Probably don't want to run this Security. In an ideal world, I think we would play that. We may play the 4 mana 2/4 artifact if we just really need artifacts, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And red may end up not even really being open enough. If it's not, we still have, the black is clearly pretty open, I think, but okay, well, Eliminate the Competition's pretty strong when you have cards with Fabricate, and we already have a few of those, so I'm sort of leaning towards taking it. There's another Renegade Freighter, which is really good, and a Tidy Conclusion. Though, should I just take the more straightforward removal spell? I mean, and right now it's not clear we're going to end up with a ton of Fabricate. We have one card with it, so, or servos or anything like that. So maybe we just take Tidy Conclusion. Reckless Fireweaver is something we'd like to see wheel. Furious Reprisal, wouldn't mind wheeling. The Freighter's not going to wheel. But I think we do need to just take a straight-up removal spell here in Tidy Conclusion, and that's what we'll do. Okay, Decoction Module, not really what we're looking for. Underhanded Designs is, though. It's a good payoff for being in these colors. But I think Welding Sparks is probably just better. Yeah, I think it is. I do like Underhanded Designs a lot. It can sometimes give you a little value by gaining you life, but almost 90% of the time you gain 1 or 2 life and then kill something with it. Welding Sparks is just always a kill spell, so I think I take it here. If we're really lucky, that could wheel. I kind of doubt it, though, so we'll take the Welding Sparks here. Malphus Doorbuster, hello, Unlicensed Disintegration. I guess I wish now we'd first pick the one, but now we'll definitely take an Unlicensed Disintegration. It's just the best card in this pack anyway. I wouldn't mind Malphus Squad coming back. Other than that, this pack doesn't have a whole lot for us, actually. I mean, Malphus Doorbuster's solid. Gearseeker Serpent is a pretty strong reason to think about being blue. Arborback Stomper's a really strong green card. Might just take Weldfast Monitor. Built to Smash is a solid card for our deck. If we get a chance to take one over, near the end of a pack, we'll take it. But I think we'll just take the Monitor here. The Stomper is definitely worth looking at and thinking about it, but I think we're deep enough into this draft that we can't really afford to move around a whole lot. And we'll just take another solid artifact. Okay, Embrawl Bruiser is a good reason to be in artifacts. Wispeaver Angel's nice if you're white. That's actually a really late one. I don't know if I've seen one that late before. Do I want it over my second Chandra's Pyrohelix? Do I want another Bruiser? I think I probably do. We're probably going to end up being a fairly aggressive deck. So Spireside Infiltrator would be solid for our deck too, but I think I'm going to take the Bruiser here over that Helix. Okay, here's a Fireweaver, which I like, but also a second Revoke Privileges. Jeez, that's a late Revoke Privileges. I wish we had some Prisms to help us splash, but so I think we're just going to have to take something else. We probably do just want Fireweaver in this deck. Spontaneous Artist is solid, but I think the Fireweaver is going to be better in our particular deck. Yeah, but Privileges is definitely the best card left in here. And Experimental Aviator and Bastion Mastodon are both solid as well. But yeah, we'll take the Fireweaver. So we could take Built to Smash, or we could take a Thriving Grubs or a Lawless Broker. I think I'm going to take Thriving Grubs. I think we need a lot more lower curve. We need our deck to be a little more aggressive, ideally here. Probably not playing that P-Foul anymore. I guess we do take Live Fast now, although 5 mana 4/5 isn't terrible. Our curve is getting pretty low, and it is an artifact, which Embrawl Bruiser, Welding Sparks, Unlicensed Disintegration, and Oval Chase Daredevil, and Salivating Gremlins all care about. So I might take it. On the off chance we splash white, we probably would be okay with it. And I don't love Live Fast. It does work with our grubs okay, I guess, but I'll take the big Mastodon. And here, do we want a Fireweaver or an Infiltrator? So right now we have 3, 4 artifacts that are like obvious artifacts, and then we also have one more. So we actually don't have that many right now. So I think we probably just take the aggressive card over the artifact synergy right now, because we just don't have enough. We don't have a ton of artifacts right now. We're probably going to end up with plenty for what our deck wants to do, but right now we don't have a ton of them. Fragmentize is a nice-ish card. It's actually a really nice card for white. I think white's pretty open, and maybe I should have veered into it at one point or another, but we'll just take this guy. We're not going to play it, but yeah. And this is a really good green card, too, so green must also be pretty open. So, yeah, and I've seen a lot of late Highspire Artisans that should have told me something. I'll take the Puzzle Knot. Ooh, that's pretty good, though, to get a late Spireside Infiltrator. That does incentivize us to take, like, Sky Skiff. We may even want to play Night Market Lookout if we end up aggressive enough. Like, if we get some more vehicles, namely. Too bad we didn't take that second Renegade Freighter. I really felt like I needed a straight-up removal spell, which we didn't really have. Then we picked up the Disintegration and Welding Sparks, but right now this might not make it into our deck because we don't have quite enough artifacts. I'd probably want like 5, and then I'd feel okay about playing it, so we're not that far off. And they have to be actual artifacts in this case, not like Aetherborn's Artifact Friend. So yeah. But yeah, I do like these guys. Getting them late is a decent sign. Let's get another Renegade Freighter. Ooh, that's even better, huh? I think we probably just take Fleetwheel Cruiser over, even though this pack is pretty good for us. Underhanded Designs and Welding Sparks are both really good. I wouldn't mind Subtle Strike coming back, but Fleetwheel Cruiser is just a really strong card. It's an artifact, which our deck cares about, and it's just a bomb. It's easy to crew, and it can attack on its own the first time you play it, so it's just really strong. We need to get Oval Chase Dragster to go with our Oval Chase Daredevil. Oh, another Renegade Freighter. We're happy with that. We are very happy with that. We'll take the Freighter here. I mean, there's other choices like Pyrohelix and Quicksmith Genius, but this guy might even wheel, and he's not amazing or anything. Not nearly as good as a Renegade Freighter is. So, yeah, we're now in on Fortuitous Fine, I think. Here's a Sky Skiff, which goes well with our 2 Spireside Infiltrators and Night Market Lookout, but there's also a really strong sideboard card in Make Obsolete. And we're going to get there on playables, and none of these, while Sky Skiff's fine, it's not going to like drastically improve our deck, whereas having Make Obsolete out of our sideboard for a deck that goes really wide is actually really strong. It might even be main boardable, but I think we're going to take just a really strong sideboard card here that can beat one of the better decks in the format, which is sort of the go wide deck. So I'm kind of doubting it now, because Sky Skiff being an artifact is relevant, but we'll take Make Obsolete. It is a really relevant sideboard card, and we can even stick it over here for now. We can stick it there for now. But yeah, Fleetwheel Cruiser is pretty sweet for us to get. Ideally, I wouldn't play Bastion Mastodon, and I think we can get away without playing it now, actually. And then Night Market Lookout. We're up to 3 vehicles, so Night Market Lookout's pretty solid. But it's sort of potentially on the outside looking in as well. But yeah, I like the look of this deck. It's fairly aggressive, but it has, a nice bomb and some good removal. Wouldn't mind Built to Smash. We've passed a few of them. Maybe we can pick one up later, though. My, that's a pretty late Harness Lightning. This is a really stacked pack for us as well. Weaponcraft Enthusiast is really good. Tidy Conclusions, solid. But Harness Lightning is just the best card in this pack, and we'll just take it. Another strong removal spell for our deck. We are actually kind of low on creatures. I feel like we're more aggressive than we are. I mean, it's partly because our Freighters and our Fleetwheel Cruisers aren't creatures that it feels like we have more creatures. But I think we still take Harness Lightning here. It's just too strong. Too strong to say no to, even though there was some synergy we could have put in instead. But yeah, would kind of like a few more creatures. Luckily, we do have a decent number down here. So, but yeah, let's stick these over here for now. That does cut one creature from our deck, incidentally. So maybe we do end up playing the Lookout with 3 vehicles. It's a little more reasonable. It's a little worse, though, if you don't have Sky Skiff, because it can't crew these on its own. But you can just tap them to tap them. Do we want something like Incendiary Sabotage? I don't think we do. I think we probably just take another Pyro Helix. I like it more than a second Fortuitous Find. The second Pyro Helix may just be in our sideboard, but it's, again, a pretty strong sideboard card, and I like it more than Live Fast. I'm going to stick it right here for now. Another Infiltrator. Also a Thriving Rats. I think I just like the Infiltrator more once we have 3 vehicles. Now that we have 3 vehicles it can crew. The Rats are nice because they're lower on our curve, but Infiltrator gets better and better the more vehicles you have, basically. In addition to, like, if your opponent just doesn't play anything, hitting them for 4 on turn 3 and just being a nice aggressive creature, we can just kill things that are in its way, so... yeah. We do have plenty of artifacts for Ovalchase Daredevil, that's for sure. We actually didn't end up with much in the way of Fabricate. I think someone else jumped on that deck. Probably the person we passed all the white cards to. Okay, so there is a Built to Smash here, but there's also a Foundry Screecher, which I really like, and I think it's just going to be better in our deck. Although Built to Smash is a nice aggressive card. But with only 12 creatures, and granted we do have 2 vehicles, it doesn't seem quite as good as it could be in a more aggressive deck. So I think I'm going to take the Foundry Screecher. It gives us a flying threat, which we don't really have at this point. I guess we'll take a Mind Rot for the sideboard. Oh, Ruinous Gremlin's more likely to come out of my sideboard, actually. Another Die Young. That may also start in the sideboard. Like, these removal spells that kill smaller things aren't as good in this format as they are in most, so I don't usually play, like, a ton of them. Well, Quicksmith Genius is reasonable for us. I think we take it here. It may or may not make our deck. Look at all those 3s. Well, I will take a Thriving Rats, and I bet it will make our deck because we kind of need some more 2s. I don't think we really need to run a Puzzle Knot. I think we have a decent number of artifacts without its help. Although, I guess we could definitely use more. We'll take it. We actually only have 5 artifacts. So, since we've cut Peafowl and Friends. So, we have 6 if we count the Aetherborn. So, that does make a card like Reckless Fireweaver a little less than ideal. I think it's still plenty for Ovalchase Daredevil, but... and I think it's enough for Fortuitous Find as well. Probably going to cut Night Market Lookout since we didn't get... like, the ideal thing, like I said, is Sky Skiff since it can crew it. Or Smuggler's Copter if you're really lucky. So... yeah, I mean, there's a few cards in our deck that aren't going to be incredible because we don't have a ton of artifacts, like Salivating Gremlin. Foundry Screecher is fine even if you don't have artifacts, but once you do, it's obviously better. Salivating Gremlins and Embrawl Bruiser are going to get a little worse if we don't have one of our artifacts. Probably makes playing Quicksmith Genius unnecessary too, because our other 3-mana creatures are better. So maybe we do still run the Bruiser and the Gremlins, which will occasionally give us a little bit of value. So yeah, I think we probably do. We definitely didn't end up as artifact-centric as I would have liked, but I think we have a nice curve for the most part, and nice removal. Two key things in limited, and some strong commons like double Renegade Freighter. We could have had 3 though, man. We could have lived that dream. But yeah, I think we want the Rats and the Grubs because we would like a few more 2-drops to help crew our vehicles. But we are pretty stacked. I mean, we got lots of black and red cards. We have like an extra Die Young, an extra Pyro Helix, and I think I am going to start them in my sideboard, but they can definitely come in against opponents who are playing a more aggressive... like, it's good against our deck, those cards are, but they're pretty bad against some of the other decks in the format. So that's the reason I don't really like starting them. Like any of the mid-range or decks like Die Young and Pyro Helix have some diminishing returns. We also have Make Obsolete to side in, so I like our sideboard too. So I think we did a pretty good job all in all. I think 3 vehicles is about the maximum you want, especially, I mean, and having fleet wheel cruisers sort of only half a vehicle, but I think that's good when all the vehicles are really, really good like ours are. So, yeah, I think this will be our deck. Like I said, this was an interesting draft because a lot of things sort of seemed open. Like we got a pretty late Harness Lightning, but we also saw like 3 Revoke Privileges pretty late. So white could have been an interesting path, but I think this deck will be pretty solid on the whole. And I think the Gremlins, being a 3-mana 2/3 who occasionally will get a little bigger is fine. Not as exciting as it could have been. Like there's some decks, and there's also Reckless Fireweaver I guess we can consider cutting. But it does just give us another creature in the early game, and I think it's probably better than like playing Night Market Lookout. Yeah, it probably is just better than that. So, yeah, we'll leave it in there. I mean, it is worth thinking about bringing in one more artifact like our Mastodon, even though we can't pay white. But I don't really know what I would cut. So I mean, I guess I could cut the Aetherborn, but that's basically cutting an artifact anyway. So I think the Aetherborn is just going to be better for us most of the time because of its flexibility. So yeah, we could have also had 2 Unlicensed Disintegrations, but we wouldn't have 2 Renegade Freighters if that were the case. So, oh yeah, let's sort by color. And you're basically a red card. Yeah, so definitely redder than black. Which is why it's interesting it wants us to do that. I guess it's because of the double black, but I think we probably still go 8-9. Yeah. We're just going to try to kill people with Renegade Freighters and Fleet Wheel Cruisers, primarily. Just quick starts involving those cards. All right, well, this is the deck. I'll see you guys in the first match. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.